What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Childish. We are back at it again with that next episode of Educate and Dominate, that one-on-one interview series where we take some of the top names of the game so we can take their insight and bring your game to the next level. My guest today is the first of many that is coming back for return, part two. Get at me, bro. Here we go. We have a new leader of a new guild, Malffej. What's going on, my man?
I'm good. Yourself?
Good, good. So why don't you fill us all in before we get to it here? What's going on? We got a new tag and everything. Why don't you hit him up with that? What's up with that?
Oh yeah. It was a bit of a mess last week actually. But we were in talks with. I'm sure a lot of people know Fallen Blossoms. Well, that's where they got the name from, Chasun. But the guild Fallen Blossoms. The, we converse with them a lot since they're extremely active on Summoners War Forum, and we're also there too. That's essentially our home. And we got to talking, and especially with the new guild update that came up, and they had quite a few inactive players, and we just thought, why don't we just merge our two guilds together? And that's exactly what we did. Now we've got three guilds. We've got a top guild, Kindred Saints. We took the top players from both guilds, put them in that guild, and then we've got a second guild there, Kindred Storm. They go after the Guardian 2, and I mean, honestly, with the new rankings, they could probably be in Guardian 3 as well. We've got some good players in there. And with third guild is more of a farming guild, Kindred Souls, but I kind of see them up there in Guardian too. So I don't know where we're going with that right now, but yeah, we just grew our community. That's pretty
Yeah,
much it.
good deal. And so, big shout out to you as well as any other people out there running two or three or four guilds. The Epic Fail community is two guilds, and I'm already like pulling all my hair. I ain't got no hair in my head. It's trying to keep up with everything. It's pretty crazy. So for all y'all that are making it work, um, flat out, just that's awesome. Just
Oh,
congratulations to you, man.
oh yeah, I mean for sure. Like I definitely would not be able to do this myself. I mean, I oversee most things in this guild. I'm leader of the main guild, but just shout out to the rest of what we call the management team in our guild. We've got Croc, we've got Wingsies, Drayton, Zilfons, 10K, Annie, Mushbeard, and yeah, Mushbeard has his own channel too, and Fish Guts, who's like a G2, G3 regular in the arena, and just without them, I wouldn't be able to run this guild. I delegate a lot of the tasks out to them because I just don't have the time to do this on my own. So yeah, big shout out to them.
All right, cool. So the topic that we're going to get in today is going to be kind of focused on Guild Wars, guys. One of the things that I talk about a lot of with the interviewers that we do on this thing is, we talk about a few concepts here, but I try to always think about what can we bring to you next. What could be that next big thing that we talk about that can really help out people. And one of the things that we do notice quite a bit in the Guild Wars aspect of it is that some people, really got it made when it comes to Guild Wars, and they understand the concepts and the unique teams that kind of have to come into play with only 3v3 versus 4v4. But then there's a big, handful of people out there, especially some of our new units that are new to this channel that, really don't understand what kind of a composition that you got to really look for into setting up with, in order to get the job done. And so, because we're kind of focused more on the people that are in that right, mid to late stages, whatever, or even so much beginner stage, we want to go ahead and throw out some compositions of teams that fall into one of our three to four categories as far as units that you can utilize to your advantage to do well in the Guild Wars. And these teams are going to be focused around units that are relatively attainable. So they're going to be units that are in the 3, 4 star, and some even 5 star ranks, but they're going to be all farmable or fusible, or like I said, easily to attain, from a mystical scroll or lightning, whatever. So um, the first group that we are going to get at with is probably one of the most, I would say, probably the most common groups out there. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mal, but this first one's going to be the immunity slash cleanse. or and defense break and then healer come.
Oh yeah, I mean, you see it everywhere. They come in different shapes and sizes, but when it comes to farmable units, it usually consists of Veramos, Darien, some sort of healer like Chasun or Chloe. Some other interchangeable units are Bella, Amon, Jubel as well. And lately, ever since the last HOH, you can replace Pheromos with Draco as well. This team works so well just because it has a little bit of everything. It's tanky. Uh, Generally speaking, all these units have at least 20 to 30k HP. Darien, for example, provides a really consistent defense break, and the more HP you stack on him, the more damage he does. You've got really reliable healers from Chasun and Chloe and Bella. They're all percentage healers, or I guess in the case of Chasun, it's more of a match the top person's HP. But either way, they provide solid healing. They provide utility as well, and of course you've got Veramos, with the CC there, with the stuns. He's got the cleanse. He's got the dots, and he's generally built really fast. So it's a really solid comp for newcomers and just the general public alike.
Good deal. And I ain't gonna lie, I'd say I got my favorite one. Even though I've run Veramos Darien and Jasoon, this is my Darien's Rune for 80. I'm addicted to that Jubel, man. I can't get enough of it, and I feel that it's just because that Bella is such a common um, unit in the ranks there. Being able to kind of go for that their clutch unit right away, especially for teams that are limited. When it comes to what they have to bring, and since he does it all. If you have the opportunity to take him out, I feel that they just can't continue. Whereas, if you lose a unit, Bella plus anybody, if it's synergized correctly, can still kind of come out of there, out of the woodworks. What do you think?
No, 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 I feel the same way because Darien actually used to be my main defense breaker on like arena defense and whatnot, and also Guild Wars defense. But ever since I built my Jubel, he's kind of taken over that role. Just because like you mentioned earlier, the whole the glue that holds kind of most team comps together is landing that defense break, and people know this, so they're generally gonna go for the opponent's defense breaker. With Darien, his passive doesn't work on himself, unfortunately. So he's kind of left wide out in the open there for people to take him down right away. But with Jubel, his passive actually works for him. It makes it a lot harder to nuke him down, just because most nukers nowadays are crit rate slash damage based, and with Jubel's innate ability to reduce that down by 50%, I think, it makes it a lot harder to nuke down Jubel, even though he does have a lower base HP than Darien. That's why I just love using him so much.
Yeah, buddy. All right, and so with regards to the immunity, I think you might have mentioned this, but I might have lost track when I was going through units. When we say immunity, we can go either way, immunity or cleanse, right? So
Oh
Veramouse would be
yeah,
considered, cleanse, but like a different
yeah.
immunity.
They are different, but I kind of use them almost interchangeably,
Sure,
just because they don't exactly do the same thing, but they are very similar and they do provide the same end result.
gotcha.
Mostly, it doesn't include stuns and freezes, but generally speaking, yeah.
And if they're, let's say that they are a little bit newer to the game, and they don't have their Veramos fuse just now, do you have maybe like one unit that you would kind of throw in there as a safeguard if they don't have that particularly?
Yeah, if you're a newer player, you didn't get a chance to farm that Draco. You don't have the units, or yeah, you don't have the materials for Veramos yet. Just make a Konomiya. Like I remember, I was talking to you, I think last week, about you're telling me about was it your
My
wife's
wife, yeah, my wife was looking for a
yeah,
new unit to start. Yeah,
her dragon comp, right? And You were telling me how she doesn't quite have the materials yet for Veramos, or she just hasn't fused it yet, and asking about a Dragon's B10 team. And I look through the monster box, and I'm just like, "Where's your Konamiya?" It's one of the easiest units to build. You can pretty much get skill ups by opening a couple of hundred unknown scrolls. It'll be fully skilled up. And he doesn't, or he, she, whatever, doesn't need godly runes. Just make him fast, put a swift on him if you don't have violent yet, and the bird will do the rest.
Got him. Yeah, buddy. All right. Speaking of, did you say Verd? Is that what you said? No, you
For
said Verd as in Vertihill.
Vertihill, I don't think I've mentioned him yet.
Oh,
We're
okay.
talking about Novermos, right? Yeah.
Veramos. Okay, correct. 'Cause it's funny because I thought you said Vertihill because we were getting ready to get into the next category. Don't mind us. It's kind of late, guys. It's kind of late for us. Well, it's late for me anyway. He's Pacific Standard Time. So the next category that we're going to talk about is basically what we're calling like a double ATB team or a double attack boosting team there. So pros and cons of that, Malfedge, and maybe some kind of common comps that people can utilize.
Yeah, I mean, with when we talk about ATB boosting, it's generally a skill or a passive that brings your attack gauge up, so you can essentially go before your opponent's units. Now, since Guild Wars is so limited in the amount of units you can bring in, it makes it even more essential. Um, by having two ATB boosters, you're essentially refreshing your turns at a much faster rate than your opponent. So you're trying to overwhelm them with the amount of turns you can get. Um, and it's great if people try to bring like slower team comps to try and take you down, and then all of a sudden they're going once every five of your turns, and it'll just whittle them down.
And let's see here for these compositions that we're coming at. I mean, as we've kind of already mentioned, Bella is just like that one-stop shop when it comes to getting everything you need. So that one's definitely going to be in. What are some of the other attack gauge boosters that people could go ahead and utilize with these comps?
Yeah, I mean, lately, and I'm guilty of using this myself, a lot of Veramos, Verdihile or Verdihill, the Fire Vampire, and Bella. If as long as your Verdihill or your Veramos can go first and get off that stun, a lot of the times it's game over because between Verdihill boosting everyone up time and time again, and then if your opponent gets one or two attacks in, Bella will just bring him back up and make him go even faster. Since his heal doubles is another ATB booster, and Variables will just keep laying down the dots, will just keep laying down the stuns, and it's a pretty sick combination. Um, Another one would be using Tyrone, Bernard, and Bella. Again, same thing between Bernard and Bella. Tons of speed boosting there, and Tyrone provides that extra CC. And we all know Tyrone's first skill can be a little broken sometimes. I've seen it go off, 8, 9 procs in a row, and you're just sitting there watching it kill you, and you can't really do anything about it.
Gotcha. And let's kind of get into because we have Bernard, we got Vertihill, and we got Draco as some of the ATB boosters out there besides Bella that are going to kind of work with this double ATB boost composition. So I would imagine due to the fact that Vertihill's passive is providing that attack gauge boost. He's probably going to be the number one choice to utilize with Bella in this composition. How would you rate Bernard and Draco in it? Because obviously we have a lot of people that have been able to farm Bernard, and we got a lot of people that had the opportunity to farm the Draco Hall of Heroes. So, when considering utilizing this composition, what would you recommend to your viewers as far as which one to use over the other, assuming that Vertihill is going to be your number one choice?
Well, here's the thing. I'm sure Bernard users out there will know and can attest to this. Bernard is not reliable on defense. I say this, with a grain of salt because he is one of the fastest units out there. So if he can get his tailwind out first, then like it's great. But a lot of the times he won't use his tailwind first, and that kind of sets you back because that's the whole point of putting him in the first place. He's fast, you know he's going to go first most of the time, and you want him to boost your team. So he is kind of a double-edged sword. He can be, the superior booster over Verdi at times if he can get his tailwind up first, or he can be the worst one of all and just not use tailwind at all. Now, with Draco, the most recent Hall of Heroes that everyone was able to farm. I mean, the hype. I do believe he's a little overhyped, but there is a basis to why. I mean, he's really reliable as an immunity provider, keeping that immunity up. Obviously, you need to have max skilled first before it becomes really reliable. And I don't have numbers to back me up or anything, but whenever I fight him, um, and he's in a defense and AI is controlling him, he almost always uses his attack gauge boost, which is the immunity one. I forgot what it's called. That's where he plays a song or something. Whistle. There
Whistle.
you go.
Got to make that
Yeah.
whistle blow. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. So he's actually quite reliable. For providing that initial ATB boost. It is harder to get him up on par with Bernard's speed just because his base isn't as high. But then the same thing could be said about Verity too. He actually has lowest base speed out of the three we're talking about. Was it 99, I believe? So
Hmm.
yeah, pros and cons to each one. They're all solid choices. Go with what you have, honestly.
Gotcha. And to kind of go back, do a little flashback to Goon 978 that did a video with us. One of the comments that Malffej just made, I know he didn't mean it. We're talking about making sure that Draco's max skill. When we say max skill, we're talking about the second and third skill max skill. Obviously, the importance of this particular unit getting max here is not obvious. As you
Yeah,
can see,
C minus.
nah,
I
this
got
this
lucky
this
enough
guy
to.
needs to go. He needs to stop this video right now and go run over to the gas station and get himself a lottery ticket because he got it worked out good. I wasn't unfortunate. I ended up like getting I think three of the ones on the first skill to get it. But yes, second skill, third skill, go for the max there on this combination. And when it comes to Guild Wars, I'll go ahead and touch on this before we move into the next topic. It seems like again, like I said, I want to tie into everybody. Everybody that's helped out with these episodes has been good. The one thing that the Yuma Dynamo really made a good eye on is the value of despair and utilizing despair. When you can within Guild Wars to just get ahead of the game. So when it comes to that, I do see you rocking despair. On this particular unit, would you say that that's going to be the optimal setup there, or do you still consider violent of when we're talking about Guild Wars and optimizing our unit here for Guild Wars, do we say despair or violent here?
I'm in the same boat with Human Dynamo there. I
Boom.
I love Violent. Violent is amazing, but certain units, and especially for Guild Wars, Despair is amazing. With Draco, well, I mean, since we're on him right now, the fact that he can proc another Violent with his first, or proc another turn with a 30% rate, um, just makes Despair that much more viable because now it's like you have Despair and a Violent set on Draco. I mean, obviously, if you put a Violent set on Draco, yes, he's gonna go turn and turn and turn and turn again. But let's be honest, Draco can add a one-turn defense break. He can provide immunity and attack bar gauge, but he's kind of missing that third element. Giving him that stun ability really kind of rounds him out as a great monster. And even more important in Guild Wars because I believe I was watching it last night, I think, and the Human Dynamo said, there's less monsters to utilize in Guild Wars. So if you can stun someone, that's essentially 33.3% of the opponent's team incapacitated for one turn, as opposed to 25% in arena. And it might not seem like a lot, but every
It's
turn
huge.
counts in arena, right? Or
Yeah.
sorry, in Guild Wars.
Guild Wars, yeah, it's huge. When
Yeah.
you're relying on less people to get the job done, being able to stun 1 out of 3 versus 1 out of 4 is definitely huge. Good point. Good point by far. And wanted to throw in there. I probably should throw it at the beginning of it. While these teams are, just good recommendations, they're that's what they are, right? The recommendations based on our experience, our knowledge from what we've experienced, in addition to one of our from our close, friends and guild members or whatnot. So keep in mind that that's why we kind of categorize these in certain aspects. There's probably a lot of other units that we can throw in there, and you guys are more than welcome to kind of pitch some of those ideas with your teams. What's been successful for you down below in the comment section, but just to kind of throw it out there so that you don't go, oh my God, this team sucks. It doesn't work, bro. To keep in
Yeah,
mind, these
no,
are
no,
just examples. It's just examples. So
for sure. I mean, because if we were to go through and
everything.
list every single unit, this would be like a week-long video,
Yep.
and we would die of like dehydration and
And he- and
lack
he-
of food.
and here's the funny thing. Was that this is why Malffej is a go getter. Like he's like, when we got to this concept, he got all giddy about it. He's like, dude, we might have to break this into like 2 or 3 videos because we're like, this is gonna take forever. But I was like, nah. If we do what you said, like to talk about the categories, so to speak, we should be good. So, yeah, definitely. Let's see here. So, well, I'll go into it because I kind of want to finish off with a bang. I don't want to. I'm gonna finish off with this next one. This one here is kind of one of those Debbie Downers, but we have to talk about it because it is a part of the game. While we don't want it to be a part of the game, it is a part of the game. So, stall comps, y'all know what it is. Comps that are set up to stall your opponent in an effort to win. While they might be, uh, viable at the end stages of arena reset when it comes to arena defense, I believe Malffej and I have a different opinion on that for Guild Wars. What do you think, Mal?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Take that
Simply
damn
put.
stall comp off and get it out of there. Goddamn.
Yeah. I mean, to break it down a bit, the stall comp works in the last hour of arena reset because it makes people not want to hit you because they're trying to take out as many teams as quickly as possible and to climb those ranks. If you put like a double or triple revive team in your arena defense, it's gonna take generally take people longer to kill you, which is why they work well. So it means you get attacked less and you can climb up higher without losing arena points. Now, in Guild Wars, on the other hand, it doesn't work at all. There's no, reset counter that you're rushing towards. Now, I say that with a grain of salt, just because, on Saturdays for the top guilds, anyways, if they've saved up a couple of invites, you're gonna want to be burning through those swords quite quickly. But even then, it really doesn't matter too much because in the grand scheme of things, you have 12 hours to take down these comps. And stall comps generally cannot kill at all. They have, and in Guild Wars, they have even less of sort of a choice and possibility just because you're down to 3 units. What can you do? You put 2 revives in there, and you're either left with a healer or a defense break on your third unit. You've got no damage at all. And going back to what I said, within 12 hours, people will be able to take it down. There's no point. It's just a waste of a defense.
By far. And so, what do these combinations come with? Basically, a double revive plus a healer combo, or like a revive with a double healer combo. Really, no rhyme or reason. Just a combination of revives or heals. So, now here's a question that's gonna, we're gonna get off my chest. We're talking about some teams that are considered optimal. While we definitely feel that some of the people in the top ranks have the ability to mix and match the teams, for the benefit, whether it's ATB boosting or immunity-based teams or whatever. There's going to be some people listening to the series that maybe have been focusing on their top 4, top 5, top 6 units that they kind of shuffle in between the arena defense, and some of those units are going to be revive-based units, are going to be big healers or something like that. So if it comes down to these teams only having enough units to set up one really good comp, and maybe they have some mediocre runed other kill units or whatever like that, and maybe some godly runed Eladriels or Ariels or whatever the case may be. What do you tell them? Do you still tell them to utilize a mediocre comp, or do you say just use the units that you got and throw it in there? What would you go with that route?
Well, with that, I mean, that's almost a really loaded question, just because it differs between person to person. Every individual's units and runes are completely different, depending on where they are in the state of the game, and this is especially true for those people that are starting off or kind of in the mid game. Um, Now, in terms of running a stall comp, if that was your choice, I still say go for something else. Obviously, you still want to keep your best ruined units in your defenses because, well, what's the point of putting like a half ruined unit on the defense? You know it's going to lose. But if you can, try to put a kill team. If you can't figure out, a good balanced team for your second team or your first team, put a kill team in there. And the reason why is if you put a stall team in there, it's going to get taken down eventually. It's just a matter of time. So you've guaranteed your loss there. But if you can put a kill team in there, if you can at least take down one or two of your attacking opponent's units, you still might lose the defense, but you've now incapacitated one or two of maybe their key units, and now it'll make it even harder for them to win their next one or two swords against your other guild members' defenses. And if they lose, another unit or two there because they lost that first key unit to your kill comp, now it makes it even harder for them to use the last sword. So as you can see, this kind of can snowball into a better overall guild defense for your guild.
Yeah, definitely. And so, right in the middle of there, you were talking about kill comps. I want to say I think that's one of our next combination of teams. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the kill comps? How do you like them? Your pros and cons, and what a typical kill comp is made out of.
Yeah, I mean, I usually see two main types of kill comps, or those YOLO teams.
YOLO.
With I don't want to use the term, but people use it, so just to relate to everyone.
It's trendy. It's trendy. It's good.
It
It's
is.
good.
It is. I think what was it? Was it Drake that brought it up?
Yes.
It was in one of
Yes.
those. Yeah, yeah. But anyways, there's two main types of kill comps that I see um, in Guild Wars defense. The first one is you utilize an ultra fast ATB booster, usually like a Bernard, followed by a solid defense breaker, followed by a nuker. You've got no heals. It's all dependent on that first combination, and if they can get it in, they essentially take out one of their goal is to take out one of your units in the very first turn, and that puts you at a severe handicap because if that was your only healer that you brought in, you're now on the clock before your team will lose, and your team probably wasn't optimized to run without a healer, whereas that kill comp was. So they're probably going to kill another unit on the next turn. So that's a pretty deadly combination. The other type of kill comp would be a CC comp. So just spamming crowd control, stuns, freezes, sleeps, slows, everything, the whole 9 yards, and just withering you down until you lose. These comps are slightly less effective just because there's so much immunity and cleanses nowadays. But if that CC team comp is fast enough, then yeah, it definitely will be a good defense.
Yeah, and it's funny because I when I was looking at some YOLO comps that I could do, I realized that I couldn't, put something in there that would really fit in there and do a good job. So I ended up going with the CC route. Have you guys been watching some of my videos? I put a comp in there with a speedy Tyron, Veramos, and Orion. semi-speedy Orion. I mean, he's nothing to brag about, but I've definitely surprised a couple to say the least, and I intentionally put it as my first team, just so that if I do get the win, I make them rage real hard, so that when they fight my standard team, they're gonna make some mistakes and whatnot. So again, though, it's not. It is nice, like you said, but it's not. If I could go the route where I am rocking a speedy booster and defense breaker and a nuker, I'd probably definitely do it like that. But if I think that would be our top choice, and then if not, consider the CC comp if that's all you have. But would you say that even though the kill comp is good, what as far as maybe like these first, I mean, obviously we're not going to count the stall comps, but how would you rate the the kill comp, the ATB booster comp, or the immunity defense healer? Can you do you think they're rateable, or do you think it's just something that it's just you know
I mean, a lot of it has to do with what you've got.
yeah
You want to be putting your best units on your defense, and it really depends on if you put really heavy emphasis on your guild wars defenses versus your arena defenses, because they do differ. There are different combinations that work better in one versus the other, or I think, or if you just want to go all out and have the best of both, I think Burke re-runes his units for arena and guild wars like weekly, so I don't know how much mana he blows, uh, but not everyone is like that. So it's really dependent on what you've got. I generally like your immunity, defense, break, healer comps, just because it's a lot safer. It's a lot more reliable. You don't have to worry about your Bernard not casting that tailwind off, or you don't have to worry about your opponents outspeeding you. There's much more reliability with having a little bit of everything. Now, with regards to ATB boosting, comps, kill comps, they're all good in their own ways, but they do hold a bit more of a risk. So that's just my opinion. I know other people will may differ or disagree with me, but hey, whatever works, whatever you have, right?
yep for sure. And the I think the last combination we have, we don't really have I say a combination per se, but we got to throw it out there. Whoa, there goes my phone. Good game, bro. I try to turn my chair a little bit, and the whole screen flips. Is to kind of throw in there at the last part here. One of the up and coming Ifrits that recently got the buff here, Theo. We got our own little Theo category, the Theo meta or whatever, because he's just a little too intriguing not to throw him in every single comp if you can, considering the changes that was made. So, what's your thoughts on Theo as far as the current meta goes, and how would you incorporate him into Guild Wars?
Yeah, I mean, Theo was always a good unit when he first came out. People were harping all over Tasarion, and oh my god, he can stop a passive. But we're not going to talk about him here, so
That is you damn
but
right.
but Theo, Elemental King was such a strong passive on its own, because you now have an all-purpose nuker for any situation, no matter what. He can hit wind, he can hit fire, he can hit light, dark, anything, and he'll still do the same amount of damage. He'll still crit normally. It doesn't matter to him. So he was always a solid nuker, but his biggest problem, as with 99% of all other nukers, is he was just really squishy.
Right, right.
Now, with the latest change to him, giving him that endure kind of block before he dies, he essentially, how I see it, he becomes a free-to-play Perna. He's given a second chance to dish out even more damage. And yes, I know a lot of people say, oh, you can just strip the buff and then you can just kill him right away. Yes, you can, but that constitutes at least another turn or two. And in that extra turn or two, Theo has the ability to dish out even more damage, or get a lucky violent proc or two in, and next thing you know, your team's done. So yeah, I mean, Theo is such a strong unit now, and you see it everywhere now. He's become essentially the new Vermos. Like,
Yep.
Vermos first came out,
All over the
everyone's
place.
using him. Oh yeah. And I mean, to get into some of the team comps here with Theo that I commonly see in Guild Wars. First of all, it's Theo plus Chasun. You see that everywhere. Chasun's sort of HP fill works so well with his endure because you'll bring him down to 1 health. The endure buff will pop, and you're like, okay, I can strip it, and then or I'll just wait till next turn. They'll kill it. Next thing you know, Chasun comes in, brings him back to full health, and he kills off your entire team.
Got him.
Plus, he Chasun adds an attack buff too, so it's another bonus for Theo. It's just quite ridiculous. And for the third unit, well, let's be honest, you can put anything you want. You can add a reliable defense breaker. You can add an additional healer if you're confident with Theo's second skill and defense breaking. You can add a reviver to make him even harder to kill. The combinations are endless with him. It's quite ridiculous, actually.
Good deal. Uh, I'm gonna see here. I think that's pretty much it. Do we have any other comps we had to discuss? I think we got the comps. I'm
Um,
trying to look at my notes here.
is there something you want to talk about?
No, I think we kind of got it right there. The only other thing that we I definitely know that we wanted to mention was, we've had a couple of guests on board and talking about the value of of ruining your best units for your best putting the best runes on your best units to take advantage of um, the arena and the guild wars and whatnot. Well, while we were kind of initially talking about arena, I think there's something that you recently mentioned to me that I kind of wanted to point out to the people that are viewing here, as far as your viewpoint on the runes and when it comes to these units.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was you sent me a monster box of one of your guildies or one of your subscribers, and they were asking about team comps for arena and whatnot, and he had so many good units. I was jealous myself. I think there was a Zyros, a Camilla, there was a
Everything.
Chandra, and it was a fully loaded Nat 5 box, and I was like, why are you asking me? You like just do it yourself.
Right, right.
um, but I mean, when it comes down to it, though, um, put your best runed units on the defense. I think I've mentioned it several times in the video already, but at the end of the day, and I'm sure tons of people have talked about this, um, an unruined Zyros is not going to do anything. It is better to put one of your quote unquote weaker Nat 3 Nat 4 monsters who sync really well with the rest of your team comp and have really good runes, as opposed to putting in some supposedly really good Nat 5 monster but not having it runed properly. um, it makes the world of difference. Again, that's what separates Guardian ranked players in Arena from all the conquerors and the fighters down there. At the end of the day, if you look at the monster boxes, we have a lot of the same monsters, like Conqueror 2, a Conqueror 3 player. A lot of them have better units than a lot of the Guardian players. I mean, Fish Guts, for example, not to single out anyone, but just because I know.
Name drop. Name drop.
um, he's G2 G3 regular during reset, and he only has one Nat 5, not counting Veramos and anything. A Teshar, the Wind Phoenix, and he doesn't even use them. It's like in his storage or something. So he is purely based on using Nat 3s and Nat 4s in his lineup on both defense and offense. And he's a regular Guardian player, versus a lot of these Conqueror players, with their multiple Nat 5s and everything. The difference is plain and simple. It's out there. It's the runes. So put your best rune monsters on your defense. That's all there is to it.
Boom. Got him. Cool. Well, I think we'll go ahead and cut off the video right there. What we're gonna do guys, is we'll try to add a couple parts to this. Talk a little bit about the Guild Wars offense aspect, in addition to what we talked about today with Guild Wars defense, and kind of give you some more insight in that Guild Wars. If you do have any recommendations from our people that we interview for the video, different concepts and stuff you want to talk about, by all means, please put it down in the comment section down below. We have a lot of our guests that come on board that do take the time to read those comments so they could respond to you. So, again, Malffej, thank you so much for coming in and making this video for us. I know that it seems like it was kind of a last minute thing, but once we got it on board, I really do feel like this Guild Wars, just a little bit more focused on Guild Wars, is definitely something that the awesome community of Summoners Board could use. So I appreciate your insight.
Hey, pleasure to be here, and thanks for having me again.
Anytime, my man. So that is your boy Childish and Malffej with Childish Plays. Check it out, guys. Take care. We will see you in the next Educate and Dominate video. We're out.